Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically we are discussing one of the topic that is city creation. In city creation basically we are discussing one topic that is Sunil R. Nair basically is not getting job and why basically he is not getting job. That topic actually we are discussing. So one of the person told that we have already discussed few topics basically that how basically the political groups reacts, how basically the cricket basically groups say that basically we are doing this type of task, this that basically. So one of the cricket basically person basically told that in world basically there are 5 lakh more than 5 lakh basically project managers. Basically. There are more than 5 lakh project managers. So one of the person told that more than 5 lakh project managers, if there are project managers, that means the project manager post basically is fulfilled basically. So see basically how basically the each and every people basically say. So he told that project basically if project basically is over or basically is under progress or basically the project are going to come, that time basically they are not going to recruit. They are not going to recruit. They are going to recruit when basically the project new project comes. This is one side basically. Another side is in Corona basically more than 100 crore people basically died, right? In crore, this actually discussion basically is ongoing basically. What basically the solution is basically so that Sunil basically gets the job basically. One simple job basically. So few people started giving the solution basically. Few people basically who are basically the enemy of the Sunil R. Nair, they told that basically we will kill Sunil R. Nair and we will keep giving trouble to Sunil R. Nair basically. So he itself basically will leave the IT industry only basically. So that type of people basically are also there basically. So one of the person told that we will do one thing. In Corona basically 100 crore people basically are died. In 100 crore basically I think more than 1 crore are from the software industry basically who basically died. But in this one person told that you are basically which post basically you are having. So one of the person Sunil Nair told that basically I am having project manager and software delivery head designation basically I am having. So I think there basically the people basically are not moving forward or basically moving ahead or basically they are strict at the one company only basically. They are strict at the one company. They are not changing the company. They are not moving this that basically and they are not dying also basically. One of the person basically last told that also basically. One person basically told if people will die then basically the post will be there na basically. That also one of the person basically started telling that basically. So one of the person told that one person basically the missile man basically. He was the missile man basically. He was a missile man in the Korea basically. One of the person told from Korean industry basically. He told that basically we will do one thing basically. We will go to each and every software companies and we will ask like this basically. First we will go to Patani computer and we will send your resume to Patni basically. But the Korean group basically how Korean group and the missile group basically how they ask basically that I am telling you. So they will say that basically are you giving job to Sunil R. Nair? This is the resume of Sunil R. Nair. Then Korean group told that basically sorry we basically can't give him job basically. So they basically told that basically this is your areas basically and here basically we are going to dump few missiles basically. Then they thought that basically he's just joking basically. He's doing majak basically. Majak means just doing time pass basically. They literally basically done few missile blast basically. But missile blast was already happened basically now basically. They told that basically don't do anything basically. Now basically don't do anything. You also don't do anything basically. You also don't do anything. You also sit. You and your employee also basically sit at home basically. Then basically they shifted to another company. Like this basically they started shifting. So like this basically the Korean group and missile group basically they ask for the if they want basically Like this basically they ask, and if they don't get them basically, this basically is the answer basically. And this basically literally basically this is a practical example. If one of the person told that, are you sure, one of the political person told that basically, are you sure basically you are telling like this everything is correct? Then one of the person told that in India basically any missile dump has happened basically. Then one of the person told that no, in India basically missile basically has never happened basically. Why? Because India always plays safe basically. Then he told that how basically. Then he basically started giving example basically. For example, in software industry, there is Microsoft, big software companies. Microsoft is there, SAP is there, Salesforce is there. They all basically have their projects. Base project basically. That is the SAP is there, SAP company project basically. They basically have the project. Their power supply basically is given by the India basically. For example, SAP have one form. SAP basically have any user interface tools. SAP basically have menus. SAP basically have lots of if condition functions, procedures. Like this basically SAP company have. Then basically the SAP company have the while loop. SAP company have the for loop. SAP company have this, that, each and everything basically they have each and every things basically they have. So one of the person told that like this basically, for example, one toolbox basically is there. In that basically text box is there, this is there, check boxes are there. These all basically connected with the power supply. So if India will stop giving the power supply, then the SAP software will not run in the computer only basically. So one of the person told that that's why basically in India basically there is no missile basically in this world basically, there is no person basically in this world basically, there is no country basically who can say that basically we are going to dump missile in the India country, that also into the Bangalore, into the Hyderabad, into the Vadodara city, into the Ahmedabad, into the Gandhinagar, into the Pune, into the Mumbai. Nobody basically have the daring basically, they can dump the missile basically, nuclear bomb to the city basically. Why? Because the reason is this basically, they have the control of power supply basically. For example, Microsoft basically. Microsoft is running their software. How they are running basically? Because the Microsoft power supply is given by the India country basically. In India basically there are many places basically which is created, that is called as a window maker basically. Window maker software basically, or basically you can say as a software also basically. Window maker software basically, that also you can say. And that software is basically collecting the data of power supply basically. So you can just imagine basically how dangerous things basically are there. So Microsoft is running on the basis of sort of power supply. Power supply is collected by the set of power companies. Power supply company basically gets data from where basically? That is a window maker software basically is created by one of the company basically, and they basically collects the data of Microsoft. For example, toolbox. In Microsoft there are 15 toolbox. As in that basically 15-16 toolbox are there. So these 15-16 toolbox basically are collected by the set of data basically. They are collected with a set of data basically, and that data basically are dumped into the window maker software. So that's why basically nobody in this, even Microsoft basically can't dump any of the missile basically in India basically. He is the richest person basically in India basically. Sorry, not in India, in world basically. Then also basically he can't do. Why? Because his software basically will not run basically. If software will not run basically, then basically you can just imagine. He has given the registration basically to the Indian government basically. He has given the registration to the China. He has given the registration to the each and every country basically, that we are going to take care of your computers basically. So he will be involved in this basically. And he will be involved in basically, you can just imagine basically what is going to happen to Microsoft. That's why Microsoft never does that basically. He keeps on visiting India basically. Why? To check the power supply. But he might be knowing that basically, that from where the power supply of Microsoft is coming. He might be 100% knowing that basically. Because the base is the power supply. For example, toolbox 16 to 17 toolbox are there. One toolbox is created from 20 cities. And this 20 city is the power supply data which is collected by the window maker software, and that window maker software basically is giving the data of these 20 cities to the power companies. So power company basically can't take directly data from the 20 cities basically, because it will be very dangerous thing basically. That's why basically that nobody in this world basically don't do any missile attack, any nuclear bomb attack in India. That is basically in Mumbai city, in Pune city, in nobody is in the world basically is there. Even basically few people says that basically from satellite also basically nobody can do anything basically. That type of thing basically are, because they say that basically India basically have control of satellite also basically. So they basically have control of each and everything basically, and like this basically they say that they basically have control of each and every stuff basically. So one of the person told that. That's why basically whenever the land is going to divide, that time basically Jesus Christ family, Guru Nanak family, all basically shifts to the India land basically. That means if Jesus Christ family basically shift to the from USA to, or basically whatever country basically, Israel whatever, they shift to the India basically. That means Israel people basically might not be knowing that basically he is the Jesus Christ, and he basically shifted from Israel to India basically. So one of the person told that is a logical thing basically. But here the main thing is when he basically leave that country na basically, the entire country only basically gets end basically. So one of the person told that Jesus is God or basically Jesus is whom basically. That also one of the person basically asked the question basically. Because when he leaves the country, because he know that basically entire country is going to end. One of the person from satellite group told that basically he is a Jesus Christ God basically. He know that basically that the entire country basically when he is going to leave, that entire country is going to end. So why he basically not saved that people basically? Because God say that basically people basically are supposed to be saved basically. But here basically Jesus Christ left the country and all people basically died. So one of the person basically from satellite asked the question basically, Jesus Christ is who basically? All basically there are thousands of church basically in India, all do basically prayer to the Jesus Christ. So that also basically is the question basically one of the person basically asked that also, because this is fact basically. If you are basically staying in one country and you basically gets the information that this country basically is going to divide from Asia land, if you shift from that country to the Asia land without informing, but just taking your people basically, rest of people basically are months like that only basically. They are not human being basically. One of the person basically asked that also. They are not human being basically. So like this basically, nobody can able to track that. So one of the person told that there are 5,000, more than 5,000 church basically in India basically. And people basically are doing prayer to the Jesus Christ basically. That is also basically genuine question basically. Because he is not supposed to leave the country basically. if Asia land is getting divided, that means he don't have trust on that country basically where he is staying. He trusts basically Asian group basically. He trusts Indian country basically, but he don't trust that country where he is staying basically for long life. And when suddenly basically the divide happens, he immediately leave that country. That means basically something illegal things is basically happening, going to happen basically. So one of the person told that there are basically two to three side basically of Jesus Christ group basically. One is bad people and one are good people. And in this basically each and every god basically have like that only. Muhammad group basically, that is the god of Muslim basically. They also basically have bad people and good people basically. So you can just imagine. That means God also basically knew that basically the entire country is going to die, going to end. That is also fact basically. On the name of God basically everything is happening. That means God also know no basically that country is going to end. It's not like that basically the God is not knowing that basically the people are going to die. That is also fact basically. And fact is fact basically. You can't say anything basically. That is also one side basically. And another side is good people also basically. Then one of the person told that in Hindu basically Ram God is there, right? Sri Ram God is there. On the name of Sri Ram God basically 93 bomb blast happened. World Trade Center basically got attacked. So on the name of God basically this was done by some bad people, or basically what actually was that basically? Because that was one mudda basically of the political people basically. Why political people basically? Because Indian group basically was controlling America. Indian group basically was controlling USA, UK basically, United Kingdom basically. That time only the World Trade Center basically got attacked. When UP people basically, Bihar and Madhya Pradesh people basically was controlling USA and UK. That time only the 93 bomb blast happened. That time only the World Trade Center basically got attacked. And this basically everything was done by on the name of God basically. So that is basically shocking basically. So one of the person told that what is correct, what is wrong, that is difficult to tell basically. One of the person told that is very difficult to tell basically. Because you can't say that basically Jesus Christ is 100% like that basically, because he know that that country basically which he is living and going to shift to Asia basically, is going to shift to Asian country, that country is going to end basically, that country is going to end, that basically he knows that basically. And God basically say that basically each and every human basically have good life basically, and nobody can die basically. But here the entire country basically got ended. So that is also question basically. And like this basically here also Sri Ram God basically 93 bomb blast basically was done by UP people. UP, Bihar and Madhya Pradesh group basically they have only done it. Why? Because that time basically in 93 the Ram Mandir Mudda basically was ongoing. L.K. Advani basically has placed the Ram Mandir Mudda. So wherever things basically, anything single incidents basically which was happening, that was on the name of Ram Mandir basically. So one of the person told that the person basically who is the owner of the temple basically, he will become basically, I don't know what he is going to do basically. Sometime basically it might possible he might commit suicide also basically. That type of thing basically he can do basically. Because lots of things basically has happened on the name of Ram temple. That is also there. So one of the person told that here basically we are talking about one topic, that is Sunila Nair basically not getting job. So one of the person told that, Sunil, you basically visited the church also basically, right? Yes, yeah, basically I visited church. I thought that basically I will get the job. Not basically for the job basically, but to pray the Jesus basically. I went to the church also basically. But then also church group also basically not saved you basically. Yes, yeah, basically. They also basically told that basically we are not good. So one of the person told that Asia land basically is very dangerous land basically. That means one of the person told the European land, American land, African land, and Indian land. That is the Asia land. In Asia land, South Africa is there. Sorry, not South Africa. Pakistan is there. India is there. Then the Rajasthan is there. No, sorry, not Rajasthan. Sri Lanka is there. These all are the land basically, which comes into Asia land, and these all are one basically. These all are one basically. So Asia land is one. And whenever basically the Asia land gets divided, that means divide means some bad activities are going to happen. That time basically the God family basically shifts to the India land. And again they basically go to that country only. Why? Nobody can track them, no, basically. Why? Because the people only all died basically. All people has died basically. The new basically resource, human basically comes into the picture basically in that country basically. And again basically the Jesus Christ rule, Raj, everything starts basically. Again things basically gets processed. Again basically land gets divided. Like this basically one of the process basically is ongoing. So one of the person told that what process basically is this basically. So he told, one of the person told that this might be some story or basically might be something basically getting generated. So one of the person told that in this story basically nobody has taken you basically. Nobody has taken you job, no given you job. Your basically marriage is also basically not happening. Nothing basically is happening basically. Nothing is working basically. In previous video basically lots of previous video basically I have sent the mail to the from the shadi.com to girls. Immediately basically just within 1 minute the rejection basically happens. That means something big bad is there basically happening. So one of the person told that basically you do one thing, you basically shift the nationality only. That is basically the best thing basically, because this nationality are creating problem to you basically. That is Indian nationality basically are creating problem to you. And few people know that basically in Indian nationality it might possible that few people basically might be creating problem to you. Because everybody is not one basically. If everybody is one, then basically it's a big issue basically. It's a big issue basically. If one thing basically is, if everybody has basically become one, that means it's a big issue basically. And this basically going to convert to some nuclear data basically. This is going to convert to the nuclear data. So one of the person told that in software company basically, in software company, how many types of projects basically they are creating. So one of the software expert basically, that is the nuclear power company expert basically told that there are basically nuclear project basically is ongoing. There are few seasonable projects basically that is ongoing. Seasonable project means for that country, this country, that country, for Asia land, for Australia, for Australian land, for the African land, for the American land, for the European land. Seasonal projects basically are ongoing. How season basically is getting handled basically. For example, currently the hot season is ongoing basically. So how basically they are handling that basically? Automatically doesn't happen anything, no, basically. So some projects basically data are dumped into the city basically. Then only basically the season basically is getting maintained. Basically. It's not like that basically automatically everything is happening basically. So one of the person wrote that yes, basically is correct. That is also basically the data science project. On the base of data only basically the season basically is getting handled. And that is very dangerous basically. So the topic basically is Sunil Nair basically is not getting job, and what basically is supposed to happen. So one of the person, software industry person basically told that we can dump few missile basically in the software companies basically. Then he told that basically what actually he was basically telling in the software industry language basically. Then he told that missile basically it doesn't get here basically. So he told actually like this basically. Assume that basically one software company is there. Assume that one big software company is there basically. They told that basically one of the top level director basically told that basically, yeah, these people and actually are creating lots of problem to us, and they are basically doing masti, this, that, actually they are doing dance, this, each and everything basically they are doing, and they are basically not doing the task. They are not doing the task. So they told that basically we have one project basically which is created, and the data basically which is getting generated, that is one nuclear data basically, which is generating one nuclear data, and whenever the data basically is going to generate, for example, one from that project basically few apples and oranges and grapes basically was created. They basically we are going to give to that people basically. So when they are going to eat that, their body are going to generate nuclear data. And whenever the nuclear data is going to generate from the software company, immediately the nuclear power plant basically gets activated. That is the American group, European group, and the Korean group basically. They immediately gets activated, and they basically connects to the problem basically. If the problem gets solved, then basically it's okay. Otherwise basically they will clear up the each and every resources basically. How they clear that basically we don't know. Clear means they kills the resource. So software company is very dangerous. One of the person told that software company is very dangerous. But this happens very rare basically. Nuclear data basically no software director basically, no software delivery head basically do this type of activity basically. Why? Because he is also might possible that one day he will also basically comes into the trouble basically. So this type of thing basically nobody do. So this is also for the nuclear data basically. One of the idea basically of the project group basically they have given basically. Then basically one of the person told that in software industry basically there are many projects basically which are getting created. In this the main project is text box equal to 1000 cities. The text box which you basically gives which you see in the web browser basically, and you enter the name name and the pin code, whatever things basically you enter, that is the text box, right? Basically in the text box only basically you write. So that text box is created from the 1000 cities. One of the person told that if we damage that 1000 cities basically, then each and every cities basically, but in real basically one text box is created by 4 to 5 cities only basically. But 4 to 5 cities are taken backup. Like that 1000 cities has created. Original city basically nobody can track basically. That is also one of the things. Nobody can track the original city basically. So one of the person told that if we dump few missile basically into that original city and that entire text box city basically, then basically you will get the job basically. One of the person told that also. That basically was a nuclear power company group basically. He was having the full power basically. Then one of the few people basically who say that basically we will kill Sunil R. Nair basically, but we will not give the job basically. They immediately connected to the nuclear power company and they told that basically don't do this job of the Sunil R. Nair basically, otherwise we will kill you also basically. So that type of dadagiri basically few groups do basically. So this is basically just starting of the dadagiri basically, and that are the Indian nationality group basically who are doing the dadagiris. Because Patari company, eClearX, these all are basically from Indian software company. They are doing the dadagiri. TCS group basically. These all are basically groups basically who are doing the dadagiris. And these groups are basically not giving the job to Sunil R. So in next video basically we are going to see little bit more about the topic. That topic is Sunil R. Nair basically is not getting the job. So what should we do basically? And few people basically has given the ideas. Do this, send the resume to that person company, send resume to that company, send resume to those companies, send resume to those companies. But reply basically never gets. Why? Because there is no vacancy. So in next video basically we are going to see few more suggestions basically. In this video basically we saw that basically how nuclear power company groups basically gives the suggestion basically. So in next video basically we are going to see little bit more suggestions basically given by few experts basically to the Sunil R. Nair basically, so that basically Sunil R. Nair basically can get the job.